You see them everywhere, right? That iconic green logo is, well, it's a global landmark. But what's the real story behind Starbucks' success? I mean, you'd think it's all about the coffee, but what if I told you the coffee was never really the main event?
Yeah, check out this quote from Starbucks leadership. It gets right to the heart of their strategy. Our business is the people we serve coffee to, not the coffee we serve to people. Now, that's not just some clever marketing slogan, you know? It's a totally fundamental shift in thinking. The focus was always on the experience, on the community, not just the product in the cup.
So, that's the big question we're going to tackle today. If the fancy coffee is just one piece of the puzzle, then what is the real secret? What are those core ideas that took one little shop in Seattle and turned it into this global behemoth? All right, let's dig in.
Okay, so to really get it, we've got to go back, way back to the beginning. And what's wild is that Starbucks did not start out as that cozy cafe we all know. Now, its original form was, well, it was a whole lot simpler. So picture this. It's 1972. Three buddies open a single shop in Seattle. And their business model? Super simple. They were just selling high-quality, freshly roasted coffee beans and all the gear you'd need to brew it, for the real coffee nerds. It was just a retail store, not a cafe. But then, in 1982, things started to shift when this really passionate marketing guy, Howard Schultz, came on board.
And this is where the story takes a legendary turn. A single business trip that Howard Schultz took would literally change everything, not just for Starbucks, but for coffee culture all over the world. And it all started in Italy.
So Schultz is in Milan and he has this total aha moment. He sees that these Italian espresso bars, they weren't just places to grab a quick coffee, no. They were these buzzing community hubs, places where people connected, talked. He realized the business wasn't really about the coffee beans themselves, it was about the experience of coffee.
I mean, look at this incredible pivot. Starbucks went from selling a product, bags of coffee beans, to selling an idea, the whole experience. Schultz had this vision of creating a third place, a comfy, welcoming spot that wasn't work and wasn't home. And you have to remember, for the American market back then, this was a totally revolutionary concept.
But was this vision just some pipe dream? Not even close. They decided to test it out, right? They set up a little espresso bar in one of their Seattle stores. And the result? It was absolutely explosive. Get this, the sales from that one little coffee bar were bigger than all their other stores combined. The public just went nuts for it. The response was immediate and completely overwhelming.
Okay, so a great idea is one thing, right? But how in the world do you scale that kind of personal, unique experience across thousands and thousands of stores? And that brings us to the first part of the Starbucks secret sauce, this really cool management philosophy they call recipes, not rules.
I mean, just think about it for a second. This is a classic problem for any big company. How do you make sure every single customer gets that same great feeling without turning your employees into robots just reading from a script? Because that would totally kill the genuine vibe the whole brand is built on. So, what did they do?
Their solution was, well, it was simple, but really powerful. Instead of a thick book of rigid rules, they gave their people recipes. Think of them as guiding principles for how to create a great moment for a customer. This basically empowered the employees to use their own judgment, their own personality to hit that goal. And the result? You get that consistent quality, but it's delivered with a real human touch.
All right, so that's the first principle. The second one is maybe even more personal. It's this whole philosophy about bringing your true self to your job, an idea they call wearing just one hat. So what does that mean, wearing one hat? It's all about authenticity. The idea is that you don't put on a separate work persona when you clock in. You're encouraged to bring your personal values into your professional life, so you're acting as one single, consistent person. And this philosophy, it has a huge impact on the company culture. It builds a ton of trust because it encourages people to be honest and open. When your employees can actually be themselves, they bring their real passion to the job, which, just creates a way more positive and collaborative vibe for everyone.
It really boils down to this. When people are encouraged to just be their authentic selves, they become truly invested, not just in their job, but in the whole company's mission. They're not just, playing a role, they're passionate participants.
Okay, so we've got these two really powerful internal ideas, recipes, not rules, and wearing one hat. But how does that internal stuff actually translate to what we, the customers, feel when we walk into a Starbucks? Let's connect those dots.
This really lays it out perfectly.
that recipes, not rules idea. That's what leads to an engaged barista who's actually empowered to make your experience great. And wearing one hat, that's where you get that genuine sense of community and that authentic, friendly service. Even that whole people-first focus. That's why they do simple but kind of brilliant things like writing your name on the cup.
And get this for a real-world example of how deep this goes. At one point, Starbucks bought these new, super efficient espresso machines. Great, right? Well, there was one problem. They were too tall. They literally created a wall between the barista and the customer. And since that went against their core value of human connection, what did they do? They completely redesigned their store layouts just to keep that crucial line of sight. That's commitment.
So all this dedication to the customer experience, it wasn't just about feeling good. It was seriously great business. I mean, did this whole people-first thing actually work? Oh yeah, the numbers are just staggering. Between the early 90s and 1997, the number of Starbucks stores grew tenfold. They spread all across America and even into Japan. It was, without a doubt, a phenomenally successful strategy.
So when you boil it all down, the secret to Starbucks' incredible success really seems to be in its culture, not just its coffee. Which leads us to one final, kind of provocative question to chew on. Is this whole people-first culture a truly genuine philosophy, or is it just one of the most brilliant marketing strategies ever created? Something to think about next time you're grabbing a coffee. Thanks for joining me for this explainer.